I will be covering the Red October 2018 match on breachbangclear.com. This video is the training and preparation I did for that event. For the Red October match, I'm borrowing this Lee Armory AK, X-Tech Products magazines, and Xander sent me a case of Brown Bear ammunition for my media coverage of the event on Breach Bang Clear. Getting used to the recoil dynamics of a new rifle is one of the most critical things you can do to prepare for an action shooting competition. On the first target, I kept them all in the A zone. On the second target, I have two in the C, transitioning into the target as I'm pulling the trigger. And on the last target, I have two 7.62 by 3.9 hits outside the A zone as I'm sweeping onto the target. Scoring at these events is one A zone hit or two hits anywhere to neutralize. I like to train to the higher standard of A zones in practice because if I get a little sloppy on the clock at the match, it matters less. I used the September 2018 two-gun action challenge match as a dress rehearsal for this event. I will be competing in Armored Division and Trooper category at Red October. What this means is that I must wear front and rear rifle-rated armored plates and carry all my ammunition throughout each stage on my person. I'm wearing my Faro Concepts Slickster plate carrier with United Armory steel plates and my Whiskey 2.4 practical integrated modular platform system configured to carry AK mags in general purpose magazine pouches. The rifle I'm using was loaned to me by Lee Armory. It's in 7.62 by 3.9, features Magpul furniture, an Ultimac rail, and a muzzle brake. It also has an ALG trigger installed, which is very nice for an AK trigger. X-Tech Tactical supplied me with a number of their new injection molded AK-47 magazines. These magazines feature steel reinforced feed lips and a removable floor plate, making cleaning easy. Xander's Sporting Goods supplied me with a case of 7.62 by 3.9 Brown Bear ammunition. I shot up about half of it preparing for Red October. I mounted a Vortex Crossfire red dot and zeroed it at 50 yards. I shot a number of 5-shot groups at 50 yards. The best groups were around 1.5 inches. The extreme spread of the groups was 2 1/4 inches. Fairly typical accuracy for an AK. For the two-gun action challenge match, I used my KE-17 Stealth Special with Leupold Delta Point Pro. Red October is a rifle-only match, so I will not be taking a pistol with me for that event. This stage begins with the shooter carrying a rock to this tire. They will make this trip 4 times. When the shooter returns to this barricade, they will engage 3 rifle steel targets. The stage description said the shooter must fire between these 2 barrels. The cinder block was placed on top of them to limit the upward travel of the shooter's rifle. After I was done shooting this stage, the cinder block was replaced with a stick so that it wouldn't continue to fall on shooters. 2 things are limiting on this stage. The first is using the AK selector. Putting it on safe every iteration while transporting the rock is much less convenient than doing the same with an AR-15 selector. The second limitation is that with a red dot alone, sometimes these shot-up steel targets disappear into the background, and I have to guesstimate where they are at. With one of my rifles, I would shoot with the magnifier in place, or with the magnification dialed up to at least 2 power to have better contrast on the targets. I was 4th out of 10 in armored on this stage, and 10th out of 46 shooters overall. This stage begins with the shooter carrying a kettlebell around this barrel. Once they return to this table, they draw their handgun and engage one of the target arrays, then the stop plate. They then ground their pistol and do another lap. This process repeats until all 3 target arrays are eliminated. The thing that slowed me down on this stage was that I carried the kettlebell towards the outside of my rotation around the barrel. If I had to do this again, I would carry the kettlebell towards the inside, minimizing the amount of inertia I was dealing with going around that corner. I was 1st armored and 6th overall on this stage. This stage requires that the shooter get 1 rifle hit, ground the rifle, throw the kettlebell over this obstacle, then neutralize one of the pistol targets. I I decided to engage the far targets first, so that I was the most well rested. This actually ended up being a mistake, as my marksmanship settled in the further into the stage I got. The initial shock of physical activity made me more unstable than I was at the end of the stage. If I had to do this again, I would shoot the closest targets first, leaving the furthest targets for last. This stage had a 90-second par time. In the end, with my time of 86.58 seconds, I was second in Armored Division and 10th overall. Only 11 shooters completed this stage. Everyone else timed out before completing all the mandatory hits. This stage has 2 steel targets at about 50 yards. The shooter has to get 2 hits on each doing sweeps, not double taps. After this shooting position, the shooter has to ground their rifle and climb through the window. It's been some time since I've seen this prop at the 2-gun action challenge match, and the last time I did it was without all the gear I wear for Armored or Trooper Division.
Been a while.
I have to figure out a technique that works on the clock, but once I do, getting through the window is not a problem. The bolt locks back after this first shot with 1 round left in the magazine. Simply racking it clears the malfunction, and I get it back into action immediately. This stage began with a downloaded magazine of 10 rounds. The shooter is not allowed to reload until they shoot empty. Some people gamed this stage by shooting empty earlier than they needed to. I went with the intent of the stage, which was to force a reload from this awkward position behind cover. The engagements coming up underneath this obstacle are why I do not recommend muzzle brakes for the 2-gun action challenge match. You can see they create significant dust signature. A flash hider or more moderate compensator is a much better choice for this event. I was 5th armored and 10th overall on this stage. In the end, I was 2nd out of 10 in Armored Division and 6th out of 46 overall. Later in September, I ran a drills day with some other shooters that would be attending Red October. We all wanted to get in more practice with our AKs before the event. This drill is called the Casarda drill, named for Carl Casarda, the longtime match director of the 2-gun action challenge match and of In-Range TV. The shooter starts 100 yards from the target. After the first prone engagement, they throw the kettlebell, in this case a 50-pound kettlebell, and that becomes their next firing position. This process repeats until they close the distance to 50 yards. Once the kettlebell is past the 50-yard mark, the shooter will stop at that final cone for minimum safe distance from the steel. This is a great drill that gets the shooter stressed, works their whole body, and emphasizes quick sight acquisitions every time they drop down prone.
Drive.
I'm probably going to get valley fever one of these days, breathing in all this atomized dirt off the ranges I go to.
Unload!
This is a target transition drill I came up with using the MGM target spinner. The shooter is allowed 1 shot at the spinner and then must transition to one of the outside targets. Doing this with the AK is a little bit easier in the sense that it requires less 7.62 by 3.9 hits to rotate the spinner than 5.56. And that is all the prep work I did with the AK prior to the Red October match 2018. My match coverage will be up on Breach Bang Clear in the future. Thank you for watching, and come back again for more match and multi-gun competition content.